Buddhist education and the path to liberation. Today, we would like to introduce an educational system that was established over 2,000 years ago and is still recited and practiced to this day. The target audience of this educational system is ordained monks and nuns who have taken the major precepts, living without a family, with the aspiration to escape the cycle of birth and death. According to Buddhism, where there's birth, there's aging, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Therefore, to eliminate suffering, it is necessary to cut off the basis of birth, that is, to cut off anything that can lead to another life. Thus, practitioners must live in a way that eliminates the 5 lower fetters: self-identity view, attachment to rites and rituals, doubt, sensual desire, and ill will, along with the 5 higher fetters: desire for form, desire for the formless, conceit, restlessness, and ignorance. Therefore, the method of the Threefold Training, Sīla, Samādhi, Paññā, is an educational program, a system of study for monastics, which has been taught by the Buddha in many scriptures. 1. Sīla morality. Morality involves living with a sense of shame and fear of wrongdoing, living in a way that prevents beautiful forms, pleasant sounds, fragrant smells, delicious tastes, and soft touches from dominating one's mind. It means living with pure bodily actions, verbal actions, mental actions, and livelihood to support the practitioner in living a pure and bright life. Furthermore, a monk practices moderation in eating, reflecting on the consumption of food not for fun, not for indulgence, not for adornment, not for beautification, but only to sustain and maintain his body, to support the holy life, to eliminate old feelings, and prevent new feelings from arising, so that we will be blameless and live in peace. Taking another step, the monk is mindful and clearly aware during the day and night. Except for the middle watch dedicated to rest, the practitioner walks or sits in meditation, purifying the mind from hindrances. Moreover, in walking, standing, lying down, sitting, and in any action, the practitioner is mindful and clearly aware, knowing exactly what they are doing. Thus, this very action constitutes the training in morality, helping the practitioner to restrain the senses, to be self-possessed, and proceed to the second stage, which is Samādhi concentration. 2. Samādhi concentration. The purpose of concentration is first to eliminate the 5 hindrances that defile the mind and obstruct wisdom: sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry and doubt. Eliminating these 5 hindrances is likened to being freed from debt, recovering from illness, being released from prison, being freed from slavery, and safely crossing a dangerous desert to reach a peaceful village. The practitioner uses the 5 jhana factors: applied thought vitakka, to counteract sloth and torpor, sustained thought vikara, to counteract doubt joy piti, to counteract ill will happiness sukha, to counteract restlessness and worry and one-pointedness ekaggata, to counteract sensual desire. Not only does the practitioner experience peace and happiness while eliminating the 5 hindrances, but they also enjoy the joy and happiness born of seclusion in the first jhana, the joy and happiness born of concentration in the second jhana, the equanimous happiness in the third jhana, and equanimous mindfulness in the fourth jhana. These types of joy and happiness from the 4 jhanas permeate and saturate the entire body, leaving no part untouched. The Buddha used 4 similes to describe how the joy and happiness born of jhana permeate the whole body. 1. Like a lump of bath powder mixed with water, thoroughly soaked and permeated, but not dripping. 2. Like a lake with no outlets, filled with water from within and rain from above, completely saturated. 3. Like blue, red, or white lotuses born in water, growing in water, not rising above the water, entirely submerged and permeated by the water. 4. Like a person sitting wrapped in a white cloth from head to toe, with no part of the body not covered by the cloth. We often associate meditation with supernatural powers and miracles, but the Buddha explained it as a state of joy and happiness permeating the entire body, allowing one to dwell in present happiness, and from there, proceed to one-pointed concentration. With a mind thus concentrated, pure, bright, unblemished, free from defilements, pliant, malleable, steady, and imperturbable, the practitioner directs it to the knowledge of past lives, pavanusnasesha, insight into the past, to the divine eye, dibakaku, insight into the future, and to the knowledge of the destruction of the taints, savakaya, insight into the present. Knowledge of past lives, ***. The practitioner recollects one life, many lives, 1,000 lives, 100,000 lives, many eons of world contraction, many eons of world expansion, many eons of contraction and expansion. They remember, there I had such a name, such a clan, such a class, such food, such pleasure and pain, such a lifespan. Passing away from there, I was reborn here. Thus, the practitioner remembers many past lives with their general and particular features. Divine I ***, with a mind thus concentrated, pure, bright, unblemished, free from defilements, pliant, malleable, steady, and imperturbable, the practitioner directs it to the knowledge of the passing away and reappearance of beings. With the divine eye, which is purified and surpasses a human, they see beings passing away and reappearing, inferior and superior, beautiful and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate, and understand how beings fare according to their actions. Those who engage in evil conduct of body, speech, and mind, who reviled the noble ones, held wrong views, and undertook actions based on wrong views after death, are reborn in a state of misery, in hell. But those who engage in good conduct of body, speech, and mind, who did not revile the noble ones, held right views, and undertook actions based on right views after death, are reborn in a happy destination, in heaven. Knowledge of the destruction of the taints ***, with a mind thus concentrated, pure, bright, unblemished, free from defilements, pliant, malleable, steady, and imperturbable, the practitioner directs it to the knowledge of the destruction of the taints. They understand as it really is. This is suffering. This is the origin of suffering. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. These are the taints. This is the origin of the taints. This is the cessation of the taints. This is the way leading to the cessation of the taints. Through such understanding and realization, their mind is liberated from the taint of sensual desire, the taint of becoming, and the taint of ignorance. When liberated, there arises a knowledge. I am liberated. They understand. Birth is destroyed. The holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. Thus, through the 9 aspects of Sīla morality, the practitioner builds a solid and bright ethical foundation. By eliminating the 5 hindrances and developing the 5 jhana factors, they attain the 4 jhanas of Samādhi, concentration. Through the development of the knowledge of past lives, the divine eye, and the knowledge of the destruction of the taints, which belong to Paññā, wisdom, the practitioner finally eliminates the basis of birth, destroys the taints, and achieves liberation in nibbana. When they achieve the goal of liberation, they are considered to be self-possessed and perfected in the noble morality, self-possessed and perfected in the noble concentration, self-possessed and perfected in the noble wisdom, self-possessed and perfected in the noble liberation. Conclusion and observations ***. To conclude, we would like to make the following observations. 1. Cultivation is education. Cultivation can be seen as synonymous with education because its purpose is to eliminate unwholesome states and replace them with wholesome ones. For example, meditation involves eliminating the 5 hindrances, sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, doubt, and replacing it with the 5 jhana factors, applied thought, sustained thought, joy, happiness, one-pointedness. 2. Treasure of Buddhist scriptures. The Buddhist scriptures are a precious treasure that educates people to eliminate suffering and live happily. 3. Purpose of Buddhism. The purpose of Buddhism is not only to eliminate present suffering, but also to eliminate the cycle of birth and death, to end the basis of birth, upati, and to prevent returning to another life. 4. Target audience. The target audience of the Threefold Training is the monastic disciples of the Buddha, including bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, novices, and, closer to us, the monks and nuns at the Vietnam Buddhist University and the Basic Buddhist School. They are currently being trained in the method of Sīla, Samādhi, and Paññā. 5. Evaluating the application. Properly evaluating the application of the Threefold Training in the current life of monks and nuns is to evaluate the educational value of Buddhism. Buddhism in Vietnam, a source of pride and moral heritage. We are delighted and proud that Vietnamese Buddhism is an important part of the precious moral and cultural heritage of the nation. We are delighted and proud that since its introduction to our country until now, Through many historical ups and downs, Vietnamese Buddhism has always stood side by side with the nation, integrating into our people like water with milk, as expressed in the verses by the poet Ho Zen. The history of Buddhism is also the history of Vietnam, through many rises and falls, in danger but never lost. In the thousands of years that Buddhism has existed in Vietnam, despite being heavily influenced by Chinese Buddhism, Vietnamese Buddhism has maintained its own identity, thanks to its skillful adaptation to the historical, geographical, and cultural circumstances of a nation, becoming something closest and dearest to the Vietnamese people, to the Vietnamese person, to our country, as praised by a poet. The temple roof shelters the soul of the nation, the way of life for countless generations of ancestors. How beautiful is the image of a nation's soul and the traditional way of life of our ancestors being sheltered by the temple, by Buddhism in the countryside. The lifestyle and rhythm of life of the rural people from a very distant time have been tightly intertwined with the lifestyle of the temple of Buddhism. And the transcendent quality emanating from that lifestyle has surely helped the Vietnamese people, when needed, to rise above the mundane aspect of worldly life, such as fame and profit, etc., and to aspire to higher spiritual values, without which human life would become meaningless. It can be said that one of the very beautiful characteristics of Buddhism is its adaptability as an open religion, not narrow-minded, not dogmatic and rigid, a religion of wisdom and compassion, a truly humanistic religion, truly of humanity. When the Buddha declared, "O monks, both formerly and now, I teach only suffering and the cessation of suffering," this declaration confirms that all his teachings are directed towards his sole purpose of saving beings from suffering. The Buddha also advised his monastic disciples, "Go forth for the happiness of the many, for the welfare of the many, out of compassion for the world, for the benefit, welfare, and happiness of gods and humans." Thus, the great vow of the Buddha is to alleviate the suffering of beings, to bring happiness to all species and all people. With supernatural wisdom, with a divine eye that sees through past, present, and future events, he thoroughly understood that the misfortune and happiness of humans depend on their good and evil actions. He declared, "I have seen beings who have accomplished evil actions with body, speech, and mind, who reviled the noble ones, held wrong views, and undertook actions based on wrong views. After the breakup of the body, after death, they were reborn in a state of misery in hell." He further declared, "I have seen, O monks, beings who have accomplished good actions with body, speech, and mind, who did not revile the noble ones, held right views, and undertook actions based on right views. After the breakup of the body, after death, they were reborn in a happy destination, in heaven." Another teaching connects morality and happiness for oneself and others. Endowed with 5 things, a monk brings happiness to himself and to others. What are the 5? A monk is himself accomplished in virtue and encourages others to be accomplished in virtue. He is himself accomplished in concentration and encourages others to be accomplished in concentration. He is himself accomplished in wisdom and encourages others to be accomplished in wisdom. He is himself accomplished in liberation and encourages others to be accomplished in liberation. He is himself accomplished in the knowledge and vision of liberation and encourages others to be accomplished in the knowledge and vision of liberation. Endowed with these 5 things, a monk brings happiness to himself and to others. For the Buddha, a moral life is a happy life, and a happy life is a moral life. The way of life that the Buddha introduced to us is not a life of indulgence, letting loose, chasing after base sensual pleasures, nor is it a life of self-mortification, senseless asceticism. The Buddha taught us to follow the middle way, not indulging in sensual pleasures, not practicing self-mortification. For lay Buddhists, the Buddha introduced a way of life according to the 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome deeds. Living according to the 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome deeds is living in peace and happiness. Living according to the 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome deeds is living beneficially, truly contributing in many ways to oneself, family, and society. According to Buddhism, living according to the 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome deeds is also the basic condition for living worthily as a human being, and after death, being reborn as a human or in a heavenly realm. The Buddha advised lay Buddhists to live observing the 5 precepts and practicing the 10 wholesome deeds so that, even in the present, the mind does not give rise to suffering or grief. At the time of death, the mind is not confused. and after death, one is reborn in a good destination in heaven. The Devadatta Sutta, Messengers of Gods, states, a person with evil thoughts, evil speech, and evil actions, even in the present, experiences three kinds of suffering and grief. Seeing people gathering and talking, they fear that they're discussing and criticizing their evil deeds. Seeing someone being punished for a crime, they panic, fearing that it will soon be their turn to be punished for their own crimes. A person who does evil is always haunted and weighed down by their own crimes on their conscience. Like in the evening, the shadows of the mountain peaks hang, press, and weigh down on the ground. The Mahaparinibbana Sutta mentions 5 dangers for a householder if they break the precepts and live contrary to the moral code. 1. They will suffer great loss of wealth due to heedlessness. 2. They will have a bad reputation spread far and wide. 3. When entering any assembly, they will do so with confused mind. For at the time of death, they will die with confused mind. 5. After death, they will be reborn in a state of misery in hell. Conversely, a person who observes the precepts gains 5 benefits. 1. They will have abundant wealth due to heedfulness. 2. They will have a good reputation spread far and wide. 3. When entering any assembly, they will do so without fear or confusion. For at the time of death, they will die with a clear mind. 5. After death, they will be reborn in a good destination in heaven. The Buddha warned us, O monks, in this Jambuddhapa, few are the delightful parks, delightful groves, delightful landscapes, delightful lakes. But many are the uneven grounds, the rivers hard to cross, the dense thickets, the rugged mountains. Similarly, O monks, few are the beings who, after death in the human realm, are reborn among humans. Many more are the beings who, after death in the human realm, are reborn in hell, in the animal realm, in the realm of ghosts. Why is this so? We only need to look objectively, truthfully, and humbly at the current state of the world to see that few are those who live according to the 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome deeds. Many are those who do not live according to them. Many are those who engage in evil and unwholesome actions. Many are those who kill and encourage killing, delight in killing. In many countries, bloody wars persist, even if localized. Many are those who become rich dishonestly, through fraudulent trade, smuggling, counterfeiting, corruption, etc. Many are those who live immorally, with unrestrained sexual desires. Due to unrestricted sexual life and compensatory laws of nature, recently, the calamity of AIDS has emerged, which modern medicine has yet to find a cure for. Many are those who lie, speak divisively, harshly, and idly. With words alone, one can kill not just one life, but tens of thousands at once. Yet some still say, words fly away, speech has no evidence. Finally, many are those who drink alcohol, are addicted to drugs, and crave intoxicants. Not only intoxicated by alcohol and drugs, but also by fame, profit, beauty, power. People live in the world, committing all sorts of evil, yet remain indifferent as if nothing happened, because they have not heard the Buddha's teachings. That is truly unfortunate. After death, they will be reborn in realms of suffering, enduring sufferings that, as humans, they could never comprehend or imagine. Buddhist scriptures inform us that there are 3 realms of suffering where those who do not live according to the 5 precepts, who do evil and unwholesome deeds, will be reborn after death and endure endless suffering. The hell realm, the animal realm, and the hungry ghost realm. Among these 3 realms of suffering, only the animal realm is within our sight. A Vietnamese proverb says, being a buffalo or horse, I pray for the next life. Seeing a buffalo pulling a plow or a horse pulling a cart, we already see suffering. But chickens and pigs suffer more because their fate is to be slaughtered for food. Worms and insects crawling in garbage and manure surely live in even greater suffering. But in the hell and hungry ghost realms, the sufferings are thousands of times worse. We, with our human eyes, cannot see the hell realms, but the Buddha, with his Buddha eye, saw very clearly what the hell realms are like and described the sufferings in hell in the Devadatta Sutta. The Buddha taught, just as, to speak correctly about hell, one must say that hell is not at all pleasant, not at all agreeable, not at all desirable. On this subject, O monks, even a simile is not easy. for the sufferings in hell are so great. When told this, a monk asked the Blessed One, "Venerable Sir, can you give a simile?" The Blessed One replied, "It is possible, O monk. Suppose, O monk, someone catches a thief and brings him before the king, saying, 'Your Majesty, here is a thief who has committed a crime. Punish him as you see fit.' The king says, 'Go, and in the morning, stab this man with 100 spears.' In the morning, they stab him with 100 spears. At noon, the king asks, 'How is that man?' 'He is still alive, Your Majesty.' The king says, 'Go, and at noon, stab him with another 100 spears.' At evening, the king asks again, 'How is that man?' 'He is still alive, Your Majesty.' The king says, 'Go, and in the evening, stab him with another 100 spears.' What do you think, O monks? Would that man, being stabbed with 300 spears, experience pain and grief because of that? Venerable Sir, even being stabbed with 1 spear, that man would experience pain and grief because of that, not to mention 300 spears. Then the Blessed One picked up a stone the size of his hand and said to the monks, 'What do you think, O monks? Which is larger, this stone the size of my hand that I have picked up, or the Himalayas, the king of mountains? Very small indeed, Venerable Sir, is the stone the size of your hand compared to the Himalayas. It is not worth mentioning, not even a fraction, not even a comparison. Similarly, O monks, the pain and grief experienced by that man stabbed with 300 spears, compared to the pain and grief in hell, is not worth mentioning, not even a fraction, not even comparison. The Buddha, our teacher, always speaks the truth, speaks what is beneficial. He is the one of great wisdom, the one of great compassion. Out of compassion for us, he described the hell realms, where extreme sufferings await those who do not live according to the 5 precepts, who do many evil and unwholesome deeds in this life. We, as disciples of the Buddha, as children of the Buddha, let us have faith in his teachings. Let us vow to live wholesomely, to live according to the 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome deeds, so that happiness comes to us right now, in this very life, and happiness 100,000 times better will await us in future lives. The practical and immediate benefit of the Buddha's way of life is to ensure a clear and serene mind, which is a prerequisite for all true enjoyment, including the enjoyment of worldly pleasures. There is a saying, eating beef with constant worry, eating crab and snail while snoring soundly. Eating beef but with a mind anxious about the unwholesome and evil deeds one has done, how can one enjoy the delicious taste of beef? One may even lose appetite and sleep due to anxiety, as a person who does not observe the precepts is always in a state of worry. For Buddhism, living morally, keeping the mind clear and serene, is the secret to happiness and peace. Buddhism does not oppose wealth accumulation. When preaching to Anathapindika, the greatest male benefactor to the Sangha during the Buddha's time, the Buddha spoke of the joy of having wealth, wealth gained through honest and righteous labor, the joy of using that wealth to do good, the joy of being debt-free, and finally, the joy of living wholesomely without being reproached by one's conscience. Among these 4 joys, the Buddha affirmed that the joy of living wholesomely without being reproached by one's conscience is the greatest. Why? Because only a person living wholesomely without being reproached by their conscience can have a serene mind to enjoy all other joys, both material and spiritual. For this reason, King Tran Nan Tong, in his poem Living in the World, Enjoying the Path, said that for a person living morally, even living in half a hut is no different from living in a palace in heaven, etc. If one delights in morality, half a hut is as precious as half a heavenly palace. If one can avoid worldly troubles, 3 tiles are dearer than a mansion. Someone asked, is there any scripture in which the Buddha specifically teaches about the retribution awaiting those who do not live according to the 5 precepts? The answer is yes. It is in the Anguttara Nikaya, chapter 8. O monks, killing, when habitually practiced and made much of, leads to hell, leads to the animal realm, leads to the realm of ghosts. The slightest consequence of killing is to be reborn as a human with short lifespan. O monks, taking what is not given, when habitually practiced and made much of, leads to hell, leads to the animal realm, leads to the realm of ghosts. The slightest consequence of taking what is not given is to be reborn as a human with loss of wealth. O monks, sexual misconduct, when habitually practiced and made much of, leads to hell, leads to the animal realm, leads to the realm of ghosts. The slightest consequence of sexual misconduct is to be reborn as a human with enmity and rivalry. O monks, lying, when habitually practiced and made much of, leads to hell, leads to the animal realm, leads to the realm of ghosts. The slightest consequence of lying is to be reborn as a human with false accusations. O monks, divisive speech, when habitually practiced and made much of, leads to hell, leads to the animal realm, leads to the realm of ghosts. The slightest consequence of divisive speech is to be reborn as a human with the loss of friends. O monks, harsh speech, when habitually practiced and made much of, leads to hell, leads to the animal realm, leads to the realm of ghosts. The slightest consequence of harsh speech is to be reborn as a human hearing disagreeable sounds. O monks, idle chatter, when habitually practiced and made much of, leads to hell, leads to the animal realm, leads to the realm of ghosts. The slightest consequence of idle chatter is to be reborn as a human with words that are not accepted. O monks, drinking alcohol and intoxicants, when habitually practiced and made much of, leads to hell, leads to the animal realm, leads to the realm of ghosts. The slightest consequence of drinking alcohol and intoxicants is to be reborn as a human with madness. Living according to the 5 precepts, if one commits serious offenses, such as continuously breaking the precepts day after day without any remorse, then after death, one will fall into evil realms such as hell, the animal realm, or the realm of ghosts. But if the offense is minor, one may still be reborn as a human, but will live in great suffering. With his wisdom eye, the Buddha's eye, the Buddha saw this clearly and therefore taught the above scripture to warn us. We, as children of the Buddha, let us believe in the Buddha's teachings and live according to the 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome deeds. To conclude, I would like to reiterate the content of the 5 precepts with some simple explanations so that everyone of all ages, regardless of occupation, can understand and practice. 1. Do not kill and do not approve of killing. Do your utmost to protect life. Do not engage in occupations that harm others and nature. Strive to improve the quality of life for yourself and others. Do not spare any effort to protect world peace and regional peace. 2. Do not take what is not given. Do not steal. Respect the property of others. Do not enrich yourself through the suffering of others, through the suffering and destruction of other beings. Give with compassion. 3. Do not engage in sexual misconduct. Do not destroy the families of others or your own. Respect women, and always treat them with kindness and sensitivity. 4. Do not lie. Speak only the truth. If it is a truth that should not be spoken, it is better to remain silent. Even if it is a truth, speak with gentle words and at the right time and place. Do not speak divisively, causing disunity. Always speak words of harmony. Do not speak harshly or in a way that hurts others. Always speak gently, even when criticizing. Speak at the right time, in the right place, for the truth, for the benefit of the Dhamma and beings, not for personal gain. 5. Do not use alcohol or any other intoxicants. Alcohol and all intoxicants, including drugs, are very harmful in the long run to our bodies and nervous systems. The human body is a marvelous organism, a product of many generations passed down to us. Destroyed with alcohol and other drugs is betraying our ancestors, our parents, and our grandparents. By living according to the 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome deeds, we live happily and peacefully in this life. We live maximally beneficial to ourselves, our families, and society. We live truly worthy of being human, and after death, we will certainly be reborn as humans or in heavenly realms. That is the message of the right Dhamma and happiness that we wish to introduce.